So today is going to be a little difficult for me, but it's a topic that I really want to share, especially for transitioning military members and veterans for that matter. And the topic that I want to talk about is depression and anxiety. Because whether you want to admit it or not, depression and anxiety exist. They are real. And I'll tell you, it is because, like I said, it's a difficult discussion or a difficult discussion for me to have because about 2 years ago, I went to the VA for memory issues. My memory was like really shot, and just a fair warning here: I'm going to get vulnerable here. So, and this is as real as I can get. Okay. Hopefully, it'll be able to resonate with some of you and it'll help some of you make decisions going forward. But so it started, I waited 20 years after an issue that I had in the military to call the doctor and say, hey, I think I need some counseling help with this. 20 years. And, but I finally did. And when I did, I saw a counselor for about a year and a half. A lot of stuff was going on, so I had to pause, and I was traveling a little bit then, but it really helped. And I had PTSD. I was stationed in Oklahoma City when the Murrah building exploded, and yeah, so I dug through that rubble the next day. Within 24 hours, I was down there on site, and we dug, me and three other Air Force people, and then 12 Tulsa firemen. We all kind of joined up and made a team of 16 of us, and we did basically a bucket brigade, filling up the buckets with concrete and all kinds of stuff from the building and basically passing it down. And we found a lot of stuff that, you know, that you don't like to talk about. And I'm not going to get into the details, but I am going to say this: that bothered me for 20 years. And that day was the greatest day and the worst day of my Air Force career. It was the greatest day because I felt like I really truly served other Americans on that day on U.S. soil. And it was my worst day for obvious reasons. I mean, we found body parts, and man, I wasn't married then, and I wasn't married, and I didn't have kids then. But having kids now and thinking back, that man, I could be there that quick, and I can smell it, and I can feel it, and I can feel the air. I can see the blue sky. And over time, that kind of took a toll on me because I didn't get help. And I know once I retired from the Air Force, it took me another 3 or 4 years before I really picked up the phone and told my doctor that, hey, I need a referral to go get some counseling. And I did. And I saw that counselor for about a year and a half and helped a lot. I went through some EMDR counseling, and it was great. And when I stopped seeing that counselor, I told her, I was like, am I ever going to forget this? And she said, no, you're never going to forget it. But she said, this counseling and this therapy that we put you through has desensitized it for you. Now, that doesn't mean that I can't just openly talk about it and give you all the details without getting choked up, because I could push myself to the point where I can get back in that building right now. I mean, I could smell it, feel it. I can be like it's right there, and I can see everything. I mean, details. But I'm not gonna go there with you. But I'm just saying, I still have that memory is so clear, so burned in my mind. Well, it wasn't, like I said, it was about a year and a half after that my memory, I started having serious memory issues, and my wife's like, "Man, you need to get this checked out." So I went and saw a civilian doctor, and they kind of gave me some tests and said, "Well, Paul, you're mid 50s, and stuff like that happens." And so I'm like, "Yeah, okay." Well, 6 months followed up, same thing. I'm like, "Yeah, I still forget stuff," and so after that, I went to, I approached the VA. I went to the VA and said, "Hey, can I see somebody? Because I'm getting these memory issues." And I was seeing a civilian doctor, and actually, TRICARE stopped. Uh, uh, they stopped accepting TRICARE, that one hospital that I was going to. So the VA was a perfect fit. I went there, I saw, and they scheduled me with a neurologist. I saw a neurologist, and long story short, they put me through this long test. I was told it would be about 3 weeks, a month before I get the results. The doctor called me like within a few days and had me come down to see her the next day. And I'm thinking to myself, man, this isn't good. You know, it's never good when a doctor calls you that quick and wants to see you that quick. So I went down and she gave me, she was very upfront and very, I asked her a lot of questions. I was very vulnerable with her, told her a lot of stuff that was going on. And she said, well, your memory's good. That's the good news. But she said, you have, this is, you have signs of, or you're clinically showing signs of clinical depression and anxiety. Now, the anxiety wasn't a shocker because I've always been just that type. I mean, I'm going all the time, right? I'm like bzz, 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 all over the place, and I have a hard time just relaxing. So I know my anxiety level's up there. But the depression was just like, really, depression? I didn't think I was had depression. Well, so I started seeing a therapist, and I'm still seeing that therapist, and at the VA, and he is amazing. Had an appointment today, actually. And the therapy that he gives me, it's CBT, um, cognitive behavioral therapy. But we just work through things, and a lot of times it seems like I'm just telling a story or I'm just talking to him. But then afterwards, I think about it. I'm like, man, that was really a good session today. And he looks for little things that I say, and if I say something, he'll perk up and he'll go down that trail. And man, he'll push me. He will push me and kind of really dig deep to get that out of me. And I'll tell you, it's a really good experience. And I don't know who needs to hear this today, but if you have any type of issues from your military career, it could be anything. It could be PTSD, it could be anxiety, it could be depression, um, anything like that. You are not alone. And don't think you have to go through this alone, because there are great therapists out there, great counselors that, and if you've never been to one, it's not like walking into a room with rubber walls, all right? It's not like that. That's the way I kind of thought at one time. But it's not. It's a regular doctor's office. It's actually pretty nice. You sit down, and you just talk. You just have a chat. And I would highly recommend. I've been lucky. The therapists and counselors that I've had and I've seen have been very nice. But I'm an open book. I kind of wear it right out there on my sleeve. I'll tell you anybody anything, and I can get pretty vulnerable at times. But if you go to see a therapist, work on the relationship first. And believe me, you can tell your therapist anything that's on your mind, and it's confidential. So you can open up to them, and they're going to help you get through them rough spots. And the thing is, keeping it in is such a burden. And when you start talking about it and letting that out, man, it's like magic. It is like sandbags are lifted off your shoulders. It's like you feel free for the first time in a really long time. I remember feeling free. And that was all a part of my struggle when I transitioned out. But it was a struggle that I had in my career too, that I held on to, that I didn't think I could go to mental health because of different things you hear in the military. And so I held it in, and it wasn't the healthiest thing. Luckily, I was in different jobs that I had people at work that I could talk to, and I really recommend that you getting in a group of guys, women, whoever, where you could really be yourself and you can really share and you could really lay it out there, because holding it in, man, it's like it keeps you trapped and it's unhealthy. It'll wear you down. And that's where I think my depression and anxiety really built up because my wife started seeing things in me and she's like, "Man, you need to go to the doctor. You need to see somebody." And she was right, and I knew it. But I just wouldn't pick up that phone. And it was one of the hardest things in the world to pick up that phone and call and say, "I need help." But I'll tell you, it's the best thing I ever did in my life. Besides, getting married and having kids and all that other stuff. For myself, for my own mental health, for my own self improvement, investing in myself, that was the best thing I ever did is to seek out therapy and counseling. And like I said, the VA counselor that I have now, therapist counselor, he is amazing. And the VA has some great programs. They have some group programs where if you don't feel like going one on one, the group is amazing because you sit down. And I went through some group stuff long before I did the one on one. But as soon as you sit down in that group, within 2 minutes, even before the group class thing starts, you get talking to other people and you find out very quickly that you are not alone. And just that in itself is like, thank God. So they have great programs that I highly recommend you look into. And, I'm going to share my story. I'm going to share it a little bit more. I'm going to get a little deeper and into some different areas. And I may talk about some of my counseling sessions without going in too deep, but I will get vulnerable. If you have any questions on here, please send me an email. You can email me at paul@clcteam.com. I'll put a link in the description and I'll put my email in there and I'll put my phone number in there. And feel free to call me, but reach out and talk to somebody. You can always talk to me. I'll walk you through certain things and I'll tell you how beneficial and I'll get, I'll tell you anything you want to hear. So if you have any questions, please, you know, answer or ask questions, comment on the video, and I'll make videos on whatever questions that I get because this channel, I truly want to help military transitioning, military members transitioning to the civilian world. I want to help military retirees that are transitioning out because I thought I was set, man. I had two master's degrees. I had an MBA and a counseling degree. I had a HR degree in org behavior. I had, numerous CCAF degrees or associate's degrees. I had certificates and certifications. And I thought I was just going to stroll out and get this plush civilian job, but it didn't work that way. And the job that I did take was a mistake. And it was a long time before I realized exactly what the best fit for me was. And now I have it. And now I want to help you get the same thing. So if that describes you or somebody you know, and another thing I want to add in here, when a military member transitions out, whether it's through retirement, separation, whatever, it's not just the military member that's transitioning out. It's the military spouse. It's the family. It's, distant family even, because a lot goes on. That identity that you've been carrying in the military for so long is stripped away. And now you have a whole new identity. And a part of really finding your best fit in the civilian world is identifying your core identity, discovering your core identity and your purpose. I know my identity and purpose now. I'm living my identity out through making YouTube videos like this, through podcasting, through coaching. All right. I'm a leadership life coach. And I say leadership life coach because I'm a leadership coach, but I help the leader in every part of their life as well. Because leadership, what good would I be if I'm just coaching a leader to be a good leader at work and not mention anything else about any other part of their life? You see, leadership doesn't just get turned off when you leave work. And now I get to do that every single day. And I love it. And it's through, I do it through my videos. I do it through my podcast. My podcast is called Run to Your Leadership Challenges. And I have almost 1,900 episodes. I've been doing a daily podcast 6 days a week for over 6 years now. And there's just a lot of leadership tips. And I'm also going to start bringing this stuff to my podcast as well. So please, I invite you right here. Click on that little subscribe button down there. And when you do, you're going to get notifications. You could get notifications when I post videos. I'll post a short video every day on here, and I'll post longer videos, 5 to 10 minutes. I'll try to keep them about 2 or 3 a week. So, again, I want to help you. Whatever challenges that you're having going through this transition, whether it's mental health, whether it's writing a resume. I'm not a resume writer, but I know people who are, and I can refer you. And YouTube is a great place to start because you can learn just about anything on YouTube. And did you know that YouTube's the second largest search engine in the world behind Google? And Google owns YouTube. So they got the market on research. So I'm going to wrap up right there, but just know that you can always contact me. Please subscribe to this channel and share it with any military person that you know that's getting ready to transition. I would say if they're within 5 years of retiring from the military, have them start watching these videos. As a minimum, 2 years prior to retirement, they need to really start preparing and writing up that strategy. And that's where I want to help them because I want their transition to be as smooth as possible. And I don't want them just to get a job. I want them to get the best fit job for them that's going to fulfill their purpose, that's going to give them balance, that's going to really just give them that fulfillment that they deserve to have, that you deserve to have.